friends, it's Therese and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be me discussing the 7 books that I want to get to in the last 6 months. May have made a mistake with that math. In the last 6 months of 2021. And these are all the LGBT books that I want to read before 2021 ends, or hopefully I will get to. But if you guys like this content, want to see more from me, go ahead and hit that like button. Love it when people hit like, hit subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you guys get notifications when I upload. But yeah, let's just kind of hop into the video. So I tried to keep this to 6 books, but somehow I gave myself 7. So I don't know what I did wrong. I don't think I was doing my math correctly. Starting off with the first book, and that is Lord of the Eternal Light, and this comes out in December 2021. It is gay. There are vampires. It looks angsty as hell. And we all know I love my angst. So guess what we're gonna do? Read it. Ben Alderson's one of my favorite authors of all time. Probably will continue to be an autobi author for me for the rest of my life. So super excited to read their next book. Granted, I have their next book coming to me in the mail in a couple days, but their next book. The next one is one that I don't know a lot about. I just saw it on Kate's, one of her previous blog posts about queer books by Filipino authors that you should read in 2021. And this, I'm gonna look it up. One sec. The book is called Wing of the Locust by Joelle Donato Ching Jacob. I don't remember if this is an adult or YA. Okay, well, I didn't want to know. But this follows a young man who escapes his mundane and mediocre existence to kind of train with one of the wise men around the area. As he dives deeper into the gift, he finds himself getting in the middle of like a lot of intrigue and assassinations and all that stuff. I'm excited to read this book. I literally have never heard of this book. So when Kate recommended it in her latest blog post, or one of her blog posts, which I will link down below, y'all should subscribe to Kate because we love Kate and her channel as well. I was very drawn by the cover. It's very intriguing to me, so I'm very excited to pick it up and see how I feel about it, because I feel like mine and Kate's thoughts on books tend to line up pretty well with some kind of hit or misses here and there. So I trust Kate's recommendations, and I trust that I'm going to absolutely adore this book. The next one I think I want to say is nonfiction? Yes, nonfiction. And that is All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. This is a collection of, like a series of essays, just kind of discussing the author's life, his trauma, and him finding himself and his sexuality. I'm sure there are plenty of content and trigger warnings, but I do plan on reading this. I have heard really good things about this collection of essays. Granted, I somehow forgot they were a collection of essays, but this all seems really interesting, and I'm super excited to see what George M. Johnson has written. This next one is The Rise of Kyoshi by F.C. Yee. This is a YA high fantasy novel following one of the avatars from the Avatars of the Last Airbender, Miss Kyoshi. She is pretty badass, and I believe there is some sapphic rep in this. I want to say there might be ace rep as well, but I know the second book is out, and I really want to read it because it's Avatar, and it's Avatar Kyoshi. Can't go wrong with it, and TB raves about it because, well, one, he also does enjoy a good Avatar. Secondly, I trust TB's judgment because, again, our tastes in books do tend to line up pretty well. I don't think there's been a book so far that we've buddy read or read similarly that we've both really one of us has not liked. I feel like when one of us likes a book, the other has a very high chance of liking the other. So I feel like we're good. We're good. The next one is Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki. This is, I believe, a graphic novel where all Freddie wants to do is date Laura Dean, but Laura Dean keeps breaking up with her. It looks like it's a wonderful book about, I want to say, like, I guess not, but yeah, more toxic relationships and more unhealthy relationships in the LGBTQ plus community, because I feel like a lot of the representation, as it should be, has been very positive, and everyone's like, oh yeah, nothing bad can happen when you're in a gay relationship, you know, it's not hetero. But I feel like it's also very important to highlight that, you know, some toxicity and some abusiveness in some sense, one way or the other, is also very prominent in LGBTQ plus communities, because, you know, it's not talked about, it's not reported. So excited to read this book. I have heard good things about this book. It sounds very heartbreaking. I just need to buy it. The next one is House of Impossible Beauties by Joseph Quesada. This is an adult historical fiction novel set in the 1980s New York. I'm just gonna go ahead and read the synopsis because it's a very in-depth synopsis I want to say, and I don't think my abbreviation of it can really wrap up exactly what this book is about. But it's in 1980 in New York, and nowhere is the city's glamour and energy better reflected than in the burgeoning Harlem ball scene, where 17-year-old Angel first comes into her own. Burned by her traumatic past, Angel is new to the drag world, new to ball culture, and has a yearning inside of her to help create a family for those without. When she falls in love with Hector, a beautiful young man whose dreams of becoming a professional dancer, the two decide to form the House of Extravaganza, the first ever all-Latino house in the Harlem ball circuit. But when Hector dies of AIDS-related complications, Angel must bear the responsibility of tending to their house alone. As the mother of the house, Angel recruits Venus, a whip-fast trans girl who dreams of finding a rich man to take care of her, Juanito, a quiet boy who loves fabrics and design, and Daniel, a butch queen who accidentally saved Venus's life. The extravaganza must learn to navigate sex work, addiction, and persistent abuse, leaning on each other as the bulwarks against a world that resists them. All are ambitious, resilient, and determined to control their fates even as they hurtle toward devastating consequences. It sounds absolutely amazing and heartbreaking at the same time. I've heard about this book a couple of times through some more prominent LGBT readers on BookTube. I haven't had a chance to pick it up yet because there are some books that I have to ease myself into. I can't just jump into it, and I feel like The House of Impossible Beauties is one of those because it sounds so hard-hitting, and it does kind of cover, I'm assuming, a bit more historical context on the LGBT community in the 1980s in America. And I can't just dive into that because it sounds it sounds a lot, and I don't want to dive into it without really making sure I'm in the right headspace to explore those topics. And finally, the last book is actually a classic, and that is Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. This is, like I said, a classic set. I don't remember the exact year, but I do know it's about a bisexual man. It's set in a room as he's trying to figure out his bisexuality. I have been super excited to read this. I've been meaning to get my hands on it, but we all know my awkward, I don't want to say proclivity, my obsession with having aesthetic covers. I haven't read a lot of Shakespeare because I want to get the Penguin's Classic Edition that's really pretty. She bought me Macbeth, which is the the Pelican Shakespeare editions, because it's nice. It doesn't have weird men on the front. It doesn't look weird. Doesn't look like I'm trying to be too pretentious. It's very simple, minimalistic. So I'm trying to find a good cover of Giovanni's Room, but I have not been able to just quite yet. So hopefully I'll find one soon, because I would very much like that. But that is it for the LGBT books that I want to read before 2021 ends, so I have 7 months. We'll see how this goes. I don't know if I'll actually get to all of these books. I do hope to get to some of these books, but until next time, you guys know what to do with them subscribes buttons. If you guys have read these books, let me know in the comments down below and we can have a discussion, or if you guys want me to do reading vlogs or reviews of these books when I do pick them up, just leave them down below and I'll note them. But until next time, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and if not, hopefully the rest of the week gets better for you. Bye!